Welcome to Unit 10, Statistics. We're doing Lesson 1 today, Measures of Central Tendency, which you have probably done it before. I am going to throw some vocab at you, so be prepared to write it down. And let's get started. For today's lesson, these are the four main words that you need to know. Mean, median, mode, and range. I hope they sound somewhat familiar to you. Does anybody remember what mean means? Well, I hope you do. That is the average. Okay, and the way that you calculate that is you add everything. And then you must divide by the number of numbers or number of items. Okay, so go ahead, take a second, write this down, pause if you need to. I'm going to go on to median. That's pretty easy to remember. It's the middle number. The only catch there is it has to be in order from least to greatest. Mode is, I always like to underline the MO because that is the number that occurs the most. MO, MO. And then the range is the only word that doesn't start with M, and it's your highest number minus your lowest number. I am also adding my crazy eyes right here, my look, because this page is super important. This is where you're going to come back to look for definitions, all right? So please make sure that you remember this page is here. Let's move on to the sheet that I provided in the assignment. You do not have to print this out. You can, of course, but you don't have to. All you really need to do is to write down the list of numbers for each problem and the work as we do it. And then as we go along, when I assign your homework numbers, copy down the numbers and of course come back to the video if you need to see the numbers again. So the directions say for questions 1 through 5, calculate the mean, median, mode, and range. Round your answers to the nearest hundredth if necessary. That might come into play for a couple of different items there. So number 1 says, Bobby was bringing his friends scalloping in Crystal River, Florida. Not really sure what scalloping is, but sounds like it has something to do with water. While searching for the ideal spot, he recorded the following depth of water at each stop throughout the day. So those numbers represent the depth of the water. It doesn't say what the measurement is. I'm assuming it's probably feet. Now, to find the mean, as I gave you on the page before, is we're going to add up all the numbers and divide by how many there are. For now, I'm going to show you my work. But really, you can do it on the calculator. So I'm going to take all these numbers and I'm going to add them together. So I have 5 plus 7 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 plus 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 15. I am not great at adding a lot of numbers in my head. I'm definitely going to double check my work. And when I do that in my calculator, I get 59. Do not put that as your final answer. A lot of students get that wrong. I now need to take my 59 and divide it by how many numbers I have. Well, how many numbers do I have? Let's count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to do 59 divided by 9, which tells me that I have some kind of decimal, and I get 6.55555. Repeating. So if I'm rounding to the nearest hundred, that would be this number here. And my number after it is going to decide what happens to it. And that 5 says that my 5 that I highlighted is going to go up. So it's 6.56. Now for my median, I need to find the number that's in the middle. Well, in order for me to do that, I need them to be in order. That will also help me with the mode and the range. So right now I'm going to take my numbers and put them in order. So it looks like I have, let's do my 3 first and put another X through that. And then I have a 4. Do I have any other 4s? Nope. I've got a 5. Do I have any other 5? Yep, I have another 5. And let's see, I have a 6. I have 2 6s. And then I have a 7. And then I have an 8. And then a 15. It looks like I crossed them all off, but let me count to make sure I have 9 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. Okay, so the median is the one in the middle. Sometimes I like to count in with my 2 hands, but the first and the last cancel each other, then the next 2 cancel, and I keep working my way in. And so I end up with the number 6, so that's in my middle. The mode is the number that occurs the most. Well, I see the numbers 5 and 6 there twice, and nothing else is there more than that. So you can have 2 numbers for your mode. So it's 5 and 6. And then your range is going to be your highest minus your lowest. So my highest is 15, and I'm going to subtract my lowest, which is 3, and that is 12. So that is the gist of what we're doing here. Alrighty, so let's move on to the next question. All right, so for number 2, we have the same types of questions. This time we have the height of the 5 starters for the Dukes men's basketball team are shown below. So I'm assuming those are inches there. They're not saying, 6 feet, 2 inches or whatever. So the mean, as a little refresher, this is the last time I'm going to show it this way, is you're going to add everything together. And you do not need a graphing calculator for this because these are basic functions. And when you add that together, you should get 394. And now you have to take your 394 and divide it by how many items you have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to divide that by 5 on my calculator, and I get 78.8, which is already rounded to the nearest tenth. So I can write that like is for the mean. For the median, I need the number that's in the middle, and remember, I need my numbers in order from least to greatest. So luckily I only have 5 this time. It looks like 74 is my lowest. Then it looks like 79, and I have 2 of those. Keep crossing them off so I don't lose track. And then 80 is the next. 82 is the highest. So the number that's in the middle is 79. The mode is the one that's there the most often, and that is also 79. And the range is my highest minus my lowest. So 82 minus 74 is 8. Number 3, you are going to do for homework. That's the first one. Same kind of questions. All right, let's do number 4 together. The data below shows the approximate times for 8 friends to complete their 5K race. So we're going to do the mean. I'm going to add all those numbers up in the calculator, and when I do that, I get 203. So double check that, and then I'm going to divide that by 8. And when I round that to the nearest hundredth as instructed, I get 25.38. Now the median, if you remember, you do need to put them in order from least to greatest. So as I'm looking through the list, I think 19 is my lowest. Looks like 25 is the next number. Then I have 2 26s. 27. 29. And 31 and 47. So now when I find my median, which is my middle number, something different happens on this one. So as I work my way in from the outside, I cancel those, I cancel those, I cancel those. I end up with 26 and 27. You have two middle numbers. You cannot list two middle numbers for the median. You can for the mode, but not for the median. A lot of times I say to students, well, what's in between 26 and 27? And they say nothing. Well, that's not true. What's in between $26 and $27? $26.50, right? But sometimes the numbers aren't right next to each other. But whether they are or not, the way that you could figure that out is to add them up together, and you can do that on your calculator, and then divide by 2, and you would get 26.5. You can do this quickly. You don't really have to show your work for that. You're really finding a little mini average right there. Okay, so the answer is 26.5. My mode is the one that's there the most often. And when I look at the list, I have two 26s here, and that's the only one that's there more than once. And my range is my highest minus my lowest. So 47 minus 19 is 28. And there you go. All right, on the second page, guess what? Number 5, that's homework. And I suspect it's just like the one right before that. Question number 6. Yasmin has earned the following grades on her science tests: 97, 84, 88, and 87. What is the minimum grade she must get on the last test in order to have an average of 90? So we're talking about average, mean, right? But this time we know what the mean is equal to. We don't know the final test score, but I'm going to attack this the same way. So to find a mean or an average, I add everything together, right? So I'm going to do 97 plus 84 plus 88 plus 87 plus some test score that I don't know what it is. And what do we always use when we don't know a number? We use x, and it's equal to 90. But before it's equal to 90, I have to divide that sum, right? I divide by the number of numbers that we have. Now we have 5. We only have 4 that we know, but when we do know the last one, we'll have 5. So the next thing I'm going to do is to combine all my like terms in my numerator, and I get 356 plus x over 5 equals 90. Now I'm going to get rid of that 5. I don't like fractions, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. These cancel. So I get 356 plus x equals 450. And now my last step is to subtract 356 from both sides to get that x alone. And we get x equals 94. So in order for her to get an average of 90, she needs a 94. She can also get higher, and she might get higher than a 90, but she needs at least a 94. You can also double check yourself by finding the average of all 5 of those grades, and you should get 90. Your next homework grade is number 7, and it is very similar to the one that we just did, so look back or rewind if you need to. All right, last question. Mrs. McDonald's students have been working very hard during class, completing all classwork and homework, and even attending tutorials after school. The day before the test, a new student was enrolled in the class, and Mrs. McDonald had the student take the test to see what they knew. The test scores are listed below. Which of the following would be the best measure of central tendency, mean or median, and explain? So the first thing I would do is maybe actually figure out what the mean or the median is, right? So take a second, practice on your own and figure out what the mean is. Press pause while you're doing that. So I got for my mean an 86.33 and my median a 92. Now I think in this case, if I look at the scores, they're all 90s and 100s with the exception of 3 of them that are 80s. One of them's in high 80 and then that random 13. So for me, for the mean to be 86, when the majority of my scores are in the 90s and the 100, I think that that is a little inaccurate. The median is 92, and that is a little bit closer to where most of the scores seem to be falling. Normally, the mean would make the most sense. It's going to include all the scores. But the reason why the mean doesn't work is because of this 13. You have one person that didn't know the material. They were new to the school. So that 13 is kind of dragging down the class average. We call that an outlier, meaning it doesn't fit in with the rest, and it's really sort of messing up the mean for the whole class. If that score wasn't there, the mean would be much higher and a lot more accurate. So in this particular case, I'm going to say that the median is the better choice. So the median is a better choice. I'm going to say the best choice because the 13 brings down the average. All right, and that is all I have for you today. So do the best on your homework, use your calculators, and send us a chat if you need a little help. Talk to you guys later. Bye.